Talking about the Acolyte feels like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. Deal with one plot hole, and another one just pops up in its place.
Force will be with you.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Force Fandom. My name is Jeremy, and today we're going to be talking about a major plot hole in the Acolyte show. One that I actually missed, but thanks to you guys engaging in the comments, brought it to my attention. So make sure you subscribe for more content like this and let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. On my recent video looking at the bad writing, particularly around the character of Torben, someone commented this. Let's take a look. Golden State Marathon, thank you for this comment. Here's what he said. It says this: it's such atrocious writing, nothing makes any objective sense. In addition to your valid criticism, well, thank you very much. Valid criticism on this episode, I would add that there's another glaring issue. We've been told explicitly in this series that the Jedi didn't allow non-Jedi to use the Force and hunt them. Yet in this episode, not only does Indara think they shouldn't even engage with the witches after Sol provides her with the information he witnessed, yeah, he saw them using the Force, he saw it in a dark setting, and Indara is like, no, we should leave them alone. But even more, look what he says. When they tell the council, the order they're given is what? To leave the witches completely alone. That directly contradicts the writer's own previous story building. That's what we've been saying. Those of us who have really been critiquing this show contradicts itself again and again and again. Here's another example. Indara even tells the other Jedi they need to respect the witches' Force cult practices and beliefs. That's the exact opposite of being persecuted and hunted. It doesn't make any sense because we're being told one thing, and then what we constantly see happening is the exact opposite. It's bad writing. And this is exactly true. From the very beginning of this show, the Jedi are the ones who are the bad guys, the oppressors. Even recently, Leslie Headland had an interview where she talked about how the Sith in this show are actually like the rebels from the original trilogy.
So he ended up being essentially very anti-establishment, which is obviously what the rebels are and the resistance is in Star Wars normally. But once I locked into like, oh right, he's the voice of the counterculture of this era.
It's this perspective that is underneath and pushing the story forward, yet when it does, it even gets it wrong, because exactly right. What was the command? The command was not to snuff them out. The command was not to get rid of these Force users. They're not allowed to use the Force because we're the Force police and we say who can and can't and how they can and how they can't, and all of that nonsense that's been put upon the Jedi in this show. Yet the show can't even stay internally consistent to its own lore. And no, it's not just about birthdays, but it's about respecting what's been and creating something that is consistent in the Star Wars universe. And it's just simply terrible writing to have all these motivations and plot lines and thoughts going in one direction and then just have what actually happens on screen be completely different. And this is what is driving Star Wars fans nuts about this show, when people like Leslie Headland, who are in charge of this show, have little to no understanding of what Star Wars really is. No, Star Wars is not about making the Sith into the ones who are fighting the oppressive empire of the rebels. That's not what Star Wars is. And for that to be the suggestion just 87 years before the events of The Phantom Menace is ridiculous. We're just angry people in our basements who don't like women and are making fun of this show because we have nothing better to do. Ultimately, it's inconsistencies like this, dealing with the story, dealing with core aspects of the Jedi, of the Force, of how this all works together, that really takes fans completely out of it. It makes us feel like we're not watching Star Wars. We're watching something that is trying to change what Star Wars actually is. Star Wars is really, simply put, the hero's journey. And that's what George Lucas had set it out to be. And that's why the original trilogy land the way that it does. That's even why I think the prequels do a better job of being Star Wars than anything we've gotten in the sequel trilogy and following, because all of the things that are a part of it just don't land in that hero's journey, because it's people like Leslie Headland who just don't get Star Wars. They want to make something new and kitschy and cool and different, and really all they're doing is taking what Star Wars is, flipping it upside down, and making it into their own thing. And so no wonder there's plot holes that abound in this show that seems to be just a bunch of plot lines thrown into a mixer, and they started pulling things out about what was cool and what was neat and what they liked, instead of actually thinking it through, planning it out, and creating something worth watching. So if you're someone who loves Star Wars and loves talking more about the ways that we can engage some of the things we love and some of the things we don't, then you found yourself in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe on the way out, and I will catch you on the next one. If you want to see a video where I go deeper into some of the bad writing specifically around the character of Torben, you can click right here. Guys, thanks for being here, and I'll catch you on the next one.